Djordje, maybe give Sarah a very quick summary of what's happening today.
Hello, Sarah. So every week we do hop demos. So whenever someone joins Commit, they work on an onboarding project with an onboarding buddy. And then almost every week we have demos. And so they just show off their skills and the stuff they've been working on their first week. So today we have Djordje, who's gonna, he rejoined Commit last week, right?
Yeah.
And he's gonna do a demo about, so what's the name of your demo again?
Commit Expert ChatBot. So it's implementation on top of CommitBot.
Yeah, so I guess people like the chatbots, right? We had a couple of them, chatbot demos, which is cool.
I mean, they're fun. They're fun to work on.
So yeah, any questions, Sarah, about the hop demos?
My only question is very tactical. What does the H stand for in hop? I intuited what the O and the P are for.
So I guess no one knows the acronym.
It stands for Hackathon Onboarding Project, and we shortened it to HOP, even though we often call them HOP projects, which is a tautology because there's already a P.
That's super helpful. I was racking my brain to figure out the H and I just couldn't.
Yeah, we keep it a secret just to keep people guessing.
Yeah. It's fun.
I always thought it was like hop on.
Oh, like you join?
Yeah. Like hop on.
Oh, you know what? I think that's just as valid.
It's good.
It's a good point. It's kind of fun.
All right, take it away, Djordje.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. Let me just share my screen here. It says that screen sharing is disabled by the host. I'm getting that error.
Just a second.
Let's see. Perfect. Let's see.
Should work now.
Cool. Awesome. Sorry, I gotta enable Zoom.
All good. No rush.
No. Okay. What the? One sec. Can you guys see my screen? Awesome.
Yep.
Cool. You guys can hear me and everything? Great. Sorry. Share. Wait, no, not share. Present. The nerves are already getting to me. All right, I'll put this. You guys can see this thing that I'm moving around, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
we can see your cursor.
Yeah.
Also,
hopefully.
like to break the ice a little, I think you've just selected, you've inadvertently come up with a new acronym, which is CHOP. Commit Hackathon Onboarding Project there on your title.
There you go.
slide. Thank you.
That's funny. There you go. A new one. Okay, cool. So as Thiago introduced me earlier, I'm Djordje. I rejoined last week. I was told I'm the first boomerang, so hopefully there are more of those to come. Yeah, so this is my Commit Hackathon Onboarding Project, or CHOP. It's called Commit Expert ChatBot. One sec. Yeah, so I'll walk you through the thought process of how I came through to this hackathon idea. So my motivation behind this was to help improve the onboarding process for new EPs. I know how important, how much we care about the EP experience here at Commit, and how much we want to improve it every chance that we get. So I thought it'd be cool to work on something to kind of like hopefully, help towards that. And another one of my motivations was just to learn something new. I wanted to work on something that I've been worked on before, and in this case, it was a Slack bot. So I thought that'd be fun to work on just because it'd be a new learning experience for me. Cool. So I'll walk you quickly through like the idea life cycle. So initially, as I said, like I was kind of stuck on this idea of like working on something that would improve the onboarding process. or iterate on it. So my initial idea was to have like to work in the handbook code base and to create like a yearbook bio for every individual that's in the handbook yearbook. The reason for that is because I remember on my first day, I was told that like, oh, I should like introduce myself, say what I'm good at, what I like to learn, what I like to do in my spare time, stuff like that. So I thought it'd be cool if we had a place where we can have everybody's bio with respect to that kind of stuff. So the new EPs can go through and just look through things and learn about current EPs or past EPs or whatever. And then I thought, well, it'd be kind of cool if in those bios we had tech stacks. So like each EP put the tech stack in there. And the reason that I thought that would be cool is because then we can use like filtering and searching. So if I'm a new EP and I joined an external project and that project has a language that I haven't really used before, I want to be able to quickly find within the commit community who is an expert in that language or frameworks. And that way I can just DM them directly and get an answer quickly or like get chatting quickly, as opposed to like going to the dev channel or like just resorting to ask Bill anything. Bill has a lot of stuff to do, I'm sure. So trying to reduce that, like, I guess, payload or workload that he gets. So yeah, that was my second iteration. But after talking to a couple of people, I forget who it was, it might've been Jade or Tiago, but somebody said that it might be tough to kind of retroactively get people to fill out their bios because we're very busy with both internal, external projects and of course our own lives, that maybe not everybody would have time to do that, or at least fast enough for it to become kind of a useful thing. So like, okay, that's a good point. Which kind of led me to realize like the most helpful part of this idea that I was working on is kind of like the tech stack thing, to help new EPs find someone who's an expert within commit at a particular like framework or language. So then I pivoted to a commit chatbot. This might've been kind of like implicitly, like subconsciously biased because my onboarding partner worked on a chatbot too. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. I can work on this. And then if I have questions, I can ask Farbod because he's done this before, and it'd be kind of helpful for me. Yeah. So the problem is pretty simple. I'm a new EP. I'm working on a project. Maybe that project has a language that I've never worked on before. I want to find a commit expert within the community who can maybe help answer some questions. And the solution is, of course, the /commit expert chatbot. The idea is simple, like I said, and I'll walk you through this in a quick demo. You enter commit expert, and I'm going to be doing it locally, so it's going to be expert. It's a little redundant, but it is what it is. And then it returns like a select menu, and that select menu has a list of all the frameworks and languages that are consolidated from all the EPs that we have within the community. And then you click on one of those, and it returns a randomized list of 4 people. So it's not the same people every time, who are experts in that particular language or framework. And then you can just go ahead and direct message them. So the current implementation, it actually uses a static data structure and just contains EPs and their tech stacks. I've talked to Fong about this, and I think he said that next week we might be releasing an internal API for Helix. So the next iteration, or like the production iteration, would integrate with Helix, and it would obviously have dynamic, up-to-date data that we don't have to enter manually. And then we're not worried about like how things are entered, like capitalized, not capitalized, and all that stuff. Yeah, and another thing that I didn't get a chance to add during this hackathon, but I think obviously it'd be a great iteration on the user experience is just like once you get like a return of those EPs, you just click the button and then direct messages saying like, oh, Djordje would like to talk to you about Python or something like that. Sweet. Okay, demo time. Sorry, I have to put a party parrot there. Let's see. Cool, you guys can see my Slack? Awesome. Yeah, so like I said, it's pretty straightforward, well, now in hindsight, it's easy because this is my first time going through it. There's a lot of stuff that I have to dig through the documentation to figure out how all this stuff works. But so if we put expert, if you enter expert in production, of course, there's going to be commit expert. You get this message saying, find your expert with like a wizard emoji, and you choose a framework or a language. So let's say I needed help with React. It would return like Djordje, Jade Lawrence, Farbod, Tiago. And let's say, and it's randomized every time. So if I do this again, it should give me a different list of people. And of course, you can do this for a bunch of different languages. And this was kind of like just for the presentation that I added in there. But let's say you wanted someone who knew everything, you click it, and then you get Bill. Yeah, so yeah, that's like, it's a quick demo. Once I kind of figured things out, this wasn't too hard to build, but I'm glad that I did it because this is something that I want to work on once, because this is actually a feature request that I realized once I actually came up with the idea. It was actually a feature request, I believe, for Helix, for a Helix commit bot integration. So now that I've gone through this, it's definitely an internal project that I'd like to work on in the future. So once the Helix API is released, that we can use internally, I definitely want to hopefully be the one to help integrate it, because now I kind of understand how I would do it. Cool. That's my presentation. Stop sharing. Okay, cool. I guess if the people have questions.
Cool demo.
Yes. Does Bill actually know everything is my first question.
Well, it says ask Bill anything, so that implies that he probably does.
Yeah, you can
It
ask.
doesn't have to be, yeah, it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be language or framework. It can be anything about life.
That's
so
right.
It's in his tech stack, so.
That was great, Djordje.
Awesome.
I
Glad
think
you liked it.
that's something that I remember from my conversation with Farbod after his demo, and you've done a really lovely job taking that idea to something that's very practical and useful for our EPs.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'd love to know what kind of challenges you ran into along the way.
So there was a few challenges. It was kind of like, and I think I talked to Fong about this last night, and he said that we should add this to our documentation within that commit bot, which I can do myself now that I've gone through it. There's a few things like that had nothing to do with the code, just had to do with the understanding of what it takes to like add like a Slack app. So there's actually, I thought initially that I only needed to add like one request URL, and that's just like to listen to like things within Slack. But then there's actually like 2 or 3 places that I actually needed to add a request URL. Like yesterday, like I was hitting my head against the table trying to figure out why my user interaction wasn't working. And then I realized you need to enable user interaction and also put the exact same request URL. So just little things like that. Technically, not too challenging. But it was just like kind of like the gotcha that you needed to know when it came to like actually building a Slack bot, which is something that I'd love to do within my blog. I would like to maybe do a tutorial on how to do this, because a lot of things that I found like deep within the documentation, or not deep, but just like to like have to search very specific things to find it. Whereas like I don't think there was a single example that I found where it says like, oh, you know, if you want to have interaction with your Slack bot, make sure that you have a request URL and stuff like that. So yeah, it'd be cool to, within my blog, actually have like a step-by-step of how things, it's a simple chatbot, so it won't be that hard.
I think that first, thanks for sharing the challenges. I think those are typical for when you're dealing with another application and trying to get it to integrate with yours. And great idea for the blog post. Is always helpful.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah. Right on.
So did you work on like, did you create your own code base, or did you work on the existing code base for the chatbot?
No, this is built on top of the existing code base. It's just on a separate branch. But the reason I thought it'd be easier is because then the stuff that Farbod worked on was kind of similar. You had to do a few things differently. So I just went through like his full code and trying to figure out how he implemented, I think it was like the coffee bot, which is similar to this. I just had to do a few things differently. So it made sense to do it from that perspective, and not just that, but also get to know the code base if I want to contribute to it eventually.
And did you have experience with, I guess it's Node TypeScript? Did you have experience with that?
No, I mean, I've had a little bit of experience with Node, not too much, mostly like for personal use, nothing within a company. So I was, I had to do some figuring out throughout the way.
Did you learn something interesting? Oh, sorry, go on.
Just wanted to know if it's live on production, if I can use this on the our Slack application currently.
No, unfortunately it's not. So I was just using ngrok to like, you know, tunnel the request locally and have it work locally. It's not in production yet. But it didn't really make too much sense to put it in production, because I would have to go manually and add every single EP's tech stack to the data structure, where I don't know. Sorry if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Fong said that they're planning to release initial version of Helix, the Helix API that could be probably use with this, I think next week. I might have misunderstood him, but it would make sense to just, instead of going through all that manual work, just integrate it with that once that's actually released. And now that I've gone through it and I just kind of understand how the code base works, hopefully I can be the one to do that. I'll have to take a look at the API, but
Yes, please.
yes, cool.
Thank you.
I'd be happy to. This was fun to work on, honestly. Like,
Did you find any limitations on the interactions or with working either with the code base or with Slack? Did you see any limitations that like maybe you wanted to do something and you couldn't because there's a limitation somewhere?
I didn't personally have any limitations. One thing that I kind of wondered is, like, we have switch statements that handle all the sub commands. I imagine those switch statements are going to be pretty long. So maybe trying to figure out how to optimize that. I'm not sure how we would do that, but right now we have, like, I think 4, including this one. And if we keep on adding like sub commands, then it's just going to get very long. So that's not a limitation. It's more of like an optimization in the future, but.
Yeah, like clean up the code a little bit or something.
Yeah.
Cool. And what's the favorite thing about this project?
The favorite thing about it was, like I said, my initial motivation is to learn something new. I kind of want, like if I worked in the handbook, I wouldn't really learn anything new. It's just front-end stuff with React, which I've done plenty of before. It would have been still fun and useful, but I'm glad that I did this because I got to learn a new code base. I got to build something new. I've never built a chatbot before, so it's kind of like the majority of the time was spent figuring things out as opposed to writing the code. There wasn't very much code written once I figured it out, but that was my favorite part. And of course, I honestly think this would be a very useful feature for new and old DPs. So it was just fun to build something that can be super helpful to someone who's within the community.
Cool. And if you had more time, what else would you add?
Like I mentioned earlier, it would be those buttons that return once you select the language. It would be, I think the first thing that I would do, especially with like the production implementation, is just like DM the person. When you click on a button, it will feed us DMs them and say, hey, Djordje would like to talk to you about Python. I think that'd be cool because that's kind of what we do with coffee time. Or when you click, the person just says like, oh, Djordje would like to get to know you and have coffee with you. I think that's the next obvious thing to do.
What about like, say, like you showed the example there that you listed like 4 different people. What if you could just create like a little chat group to talk about like Python, for example?
Oh yeah.
Create
That's a great idea. You should have an additional button or something that says like create chat group with all 4 of these people.
Get even better ideas from different people.
Yeah, exactly. And then that way, maybe someone will reply to you quicker and a better chance of just like getting a quick reply. Yeah, that's a good idea, actually.
Cool.
Nice.
I just wanted to chime in, although I missed the demo itself. I gather from the conversation afterwards what the gist was. It would be good to chat with you afterwards as well. Like, I think that like some of these ideas and concepts have come up in terms of like being built into the Helix platform and like, whatever the interface is going to be there as well. Also thinking outside of like, eventually, potentially as the community grows and maybe not everybody's a Slack member is looking to bring that type of functionality outside. So, but it would be great to understand, kind of like the different processes and thinking that you've been going through in terms of like how and to connect with, how to connect people. So, yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, we can set up a meeting for sure.
It's a good idea.
I have a feature suggestion. So
yes,
it looks like when you search for the expert, you get a list of experts, right? And then you click on it, you do a DM with them.
Yes.
I think for me, I want to open up a private conversation with all of them at the same time. So contact all experts at once.
Yeah. I think Tiago just mentioned that. So start
Oh,
a DM
thanks,
with
Tiago.
all 4 people included. There you go.
Yeah.
Just
See,
blast
it
all
sounds
of
like a
them.
great feature.
Great
Some
minds.
sponsors were thinking that as well.
Yeah, at some point we could probably mention, like we could include Slack channels in there. Like,
Yeah.
you know, encourage people to join a relevant channel for a language or just like a general topic.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Can you like grab, like say we have different channels in Slack and they have a little description, like maybe, oh, this is a channel for Python developers, let's say. Can you like grab that information somehow and use that? Like, I don't know if it's possible, but like think about like you find the experts, but you can also find channels that are related somehow. I don't know if it's even doable.
I think it probably might be, because I know, digging through the code base, I know that you can use the API to get all the users within our Slack channels. So I would imagine that you could probably also get the channels if we name the channels in a smart way, like -Python or -JavaScript. You can probably just search for it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so that would also be like a recommendation. You can either ask a individual, make a channel. Yeah, that'd be a third feature. Like, or you can just go to the particular channel if we have it.
Yeah, we can add like tags to the channel descriptions or something like that, and then we'll just automatically pull out those tags and use them.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good idea too. Those are 2 great features.
Yeah, and Farbot's hop with the knowledge base. I think we could also, like, if you're looking for Python, like a simple question of like, here are could have an auto reply of the resources that we have or that people have found before. I think that'd be good too.
Yeah.
All of these things working together.
Yes.
You taking notes, DJ? On all
I
these
have
features?
those 3. I should. I have 3 of them remembered. I could probably only hold 3 in my memory, so I probably should start writing these down. Okay, that's a great idea. Thanks, Noel. Cool.
Nice. Any other questions for Djordje?
I just think it was like just well laid out. The starting with like a brief set of slides that outlined your purpose, your motivation, what you did, and then showing it. So it's easy to follow along, professional. Good job. And useful.
Thank you. I'm usually nervous when it comes to presentations, so hopefully I wasn't mumbling too much.
No, and this is a great place to present because you're amongst friends. And
yes.
Yeah, I think you did a good job.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, great job, Djordje.
Awesome.
Really cool demo. So
yeah, it was fun to work on. I honestly mean that. It was fun. It was obviously stressful going through the API and trying to figure things out, but the end product was very fun.
And what about do you have any clients? Are you going to work on any client, or are you still going to work on this project for next week?
I think me and Noel talked about it. There's a couple that I have to look into. However, like I was thinking about it, like if I don't get placed with a client soon, maybe a project that I can kind of at least start learning about or dig into would be Helix. And then that way, when something's released, I can just like integrate it pretty quickly with this chatbot. But I'm obviously open to working on any project.
Yeah, you could build the API and then use it.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I think that would be a good place to start while we find you opportunities, DJ. And
I definitely
a good person to talk to you about that.
Yeah, I definitely want to get to know, iterate on this CommitBot code base and learn more about Helix. I don't know much about it other than like its purpose. So that'd be something that I would definitely like to learn. Okay, yeah. Nice. I like that comment. Bill's gonna have so many group chats.
So many friends.
That's funny.
Well, I guess that's it then. Thank you so much, Djordje, for the demo. It's a really cool demo, and thanks everyone for joining. And I guess it could be a good demo for all hands next week.
Oh yeah,
definitely,
sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you guys for listening and for all the questions. If you guys have any more questions, just DM me.
Cool. Thank you so much.
This was really cool.
Bye bye. Have a good day.
Have a great day.
Cheers.
Yeah.